I'm sure you've been reading the drip, drip, drip of what's happening so far. How would you summarise this budget and your support for it?
Well, there's a lot of really good features that have been announced thus far. I think it's actually going to be very hard for the Labor Party to counter this because many of the issues are social issues. But of course, we need to look at the entire release of the budget. I want to look for what infrastructure spend there will be for my own state in South Australia. I'm actually looking to see what we're going to do on the resilience front as well, noting the pandemic that we've been through. What we're going to do to make sure that we support Australian manufacturing. So there's a number of things I'll look and see, but I'll have to look at the budget in its totality.
All right, we'll wait till you've had a good perusal of it then. Out of, I guess, both the announcements and the allusions to announcements, including aged care, is there a big missing item for yours so far?
Well, again, I have to be fair to the government. I haven't seen the whole budget and they'll no doubt have some surprises for us tomorrow night. One more sleep to go. I'll look at it as a total package.
Fair enough. We'll talk to you again next week, of course, and see what you've made of it by then. A few days to distill. What we are going to hear in some form is, a rough timeline, if you like, to open up. But what have you made of what we've heard from the government on international borders in the past couple of days? And what do you want to hear on this?
Well, one of the difficulties is we need to follow medical advice, but that medical advice is grounded by the circumstances in which we find ourselves. And, part of the reason there will be lengthy delays associated with reopening our international borders is because of the difficulties that we've had with our vaccine rollout, and we've also seen capacity issues associated with quarantine that would otherwise allow for limited passage back to Australia. Look, we've got to make sure Australians are safe. That's always the first priority. But the government hasn't done well with the vaccine rollout, and they definitely need to do better there.
Yeah, clearly that's hampering or delaying things. But the mindset, I guess, and what we were originally told was that let's not overwhelm our health system. Let's avoid serious illness and death. Is it important to keep that front of mind? Are we getting health advice and being too cautious with it, for example, and we need to realise we're not in a zero-risk climate in any other aspect of life, and we're never going to be in COVID?
Yeah, look, I think we have seen some rash decisions made. The ban to criminalise or the move to criminalise Australians returning home from distressed situations, I think was an awful move. We've basically got to play this out. There has been criticisms about early lockdowns. We've seen Gladys Berejiklian handling the situation differently to McGowan in Western Australia. So it's always difficult with these circumstances. That's why I think we follow the medical advice, but I also think we need to be transparent about that advice so that it can be challenged and talked about.
What do you make as well of home quarantine? This was spoken about a little while ago by the Prime Minister. Is this the sort of thing we need to be bold enough and understand there's some small risk with it, but this could help us open up and a lot more freedom to travel a lot earlier?
Well, I think that comes down to the responsibility of the people who might be in home quarantine. We have seen some people who've behaved poorly. Maybe there's some technology solutions around that. I think we should be open-minded about that. But again, first priority is to make sure the Australian community is safe.
Just finally, I know you've been trying valiantly to try to get information on the cost of the Submarine project, trying to ascertain even just the original price quoted. So why is this important?
Well, we know the Submarine project has gone from $50 billion to $89 billion. So I've sought access to information as to what the original quote or the original offer was from the French government-owned shipyard naval group. The issue that's arisen just recently is the fact that I've actually won access to that. It's been ruled that I should have access to that, but the government is appealing that. Naval Group were invited to participate. They made the choice themselves to participate in the proceedings, but now we find out that the bill for their 3 lawyers and 1 barrister is actually going back to the taxpayer. So we've got a company that has a turnover of $5.1 billion, a foreign entity that is charging the taxpayer for their legal representation for proceedings in which they volunteered to participate in.
So does this go back to, though, when the government claims it's not over budget, this particular project, if you go back and you get the quoted price and you get the updated price, the government can't keep spinning that line?
Absolutely. Well, they can't spin the line now. There's no question that they went.
They told
the Senate back in. Well, they are, but they went to the Senate in 2015 and said the outturn cost of this project would be $50 billion. It's now $89 billion, and there is no explanation for that change in cost. I mean, I would like to see exactly what the ministers said when someone suggested to them that this project's going to go up by $39 billion. I'm just amazed that nothing was said back then.